One.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 17th episode. Don't quote me on that. 17th episode of The Grind. How is everyone doing? How are you doing, Jaren?
Man, I'm doing really well. You guys might notice that our video feed looks a little different today. Keith actually hasn't even seen it, but Skype doesn't allow split screening
Looks
anymore. I
really
don't know what
good.
happened.
I can tell by your
So
disclaimer that it looks great.
yeah,
So,
so we did have to switch that up. We'll find something, an alternative that works better, doing something eventually. But for this week, this is what you get. Sorry, guys, if you don't like
yeah.
it, but we are who we are.
No, we love it.
Um,
It's okay. It's really good.
yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We had FRR recently, 20 star special league came
Yeah.
in. Um, Lots of good luck for me anyway in the last week. I don't know about you, Keith. I had some decent luck myself, and
Mm, Not really. I've been taking a little bit, not a break per se, but just I've been busy. So I've only been playing a few hours a day, 2-3 hours a day lately. So I've been like finishing events and not doing much on top of that. So, I mean, luck
shame.
goes hand in hand with like how much time you put into it as well. I know that's not actually what you know what I'm saying, right? Like the
Yeah,
more you play, the more you summon, the more you farm, the more you. Yeah. So I'm skating by. I got a really bad violent rune today. Had like inbuilt speed, and then
shame.
yeah, it was a six-star legendary violent with inbuilt speed, and then was like resist, HP, crit rate, and accuracy, and it rolled 25 accuracy for me. So it was sick.
Yeah. Well,
It
that
was a
was
great.
what it was like 2 weeks ago that I had like three runes, three
Yeah,
legend runes, triple roll accuracy.
yeah. So
That
whatever.
was terrible.
It's not even worth re-apping though with inbuilt speed. I don't think like
No, no,
it doesn't
I
feel
agree.
at all. But yeah. So do you want to start with luck? You want to start with I mean, I guess I can. What have I done lucky? Nothing. Literally nothing. I haven't six-starred anything. I haven't. I haven't pulled anything since my frigate, like a long time ago. Um, that's it. I got a Shayna that I just fed to my Shayna to skill it up.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the luckiest thing that's happened all week. Was I summoned a 4-star monster as a skill up. Um, Yeah, runes have been. I mean, and FRR was a disaster for me. We'll talk about that. Everything's been a disaster. Nothing great has happened, but I am still here and playing the game. I'm close to fusing my Katarina. There we go.
What about Baliger?
He is also very close, but slightly less close. I'll fuse them both within the next
Oh,
week. So
I'm pretty close to actually fusing Katarina, not Baliger.
yeah, I have all the monsters for all of them. Katarina, all of the
Well,
monsters to fuse Katarina are 5-starred and awakened, but my
well,
Orang is level 20. That's it. That's my.
okay.
And then Baliger, I have all of them, but and they're all 5-star except my Verd for Baliger is 4-star.
Well, that sounds fair.
Yeah, that's
I'm.
it. That's
I
my
guess I could
progress.
fuse Baliger instead of Jean, and then I would have the win KFG for that. But I actually had some decent luck. Well, without getting into FRR,
Yeah,
as far as runes go, I pulled like four legend will runes, all
yeah,
from like my first day farming Necro after FRR, and
that's
like
pretty lucky.
three of those like triple rolled accuracy. So, and two of them were slot six defense percent runes, which I
Hmm.
feel like are slightly less useful than HP percent, and I don't know why HP percent feels more popular to use for tanky monsters, but
I feel like there's more HP scaling, right? Like Gene HP scales, Vero HP
yeah,
scales. Like I mean I maybe I'm wrong. I know like Archangels don't HP scale, but I think like the more popular stuff, like the more popular RTA monsters, are HP scaling. Don't quote me
yeah,
on that, but that's my very initial assessment But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I know people do push for HP percent all the time. They're like, oh, you want HP percent, and a lot of the time I look at that and I'm like, I think defense percent would be fine here too, right? But
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the impression that I get. But one of them double rolled speed. I did get one double roll speed. It was like 14, so it wasn't the best. And then it like double rolled like flat HP or something. I don't know. I'll probably re-up that one along with the other one
yeah,
as well because it like triple rolled accuracy and
yeah, but
I don't
still,
know.
just having those runes, right? Even if they sit there till you get reaps for them, is really good.
Yeah. Um, and then I had one today that came in our guild shop that was a 6-star slot, 3 with a max crit rate, max crit damage, max speed roll on it, purple
Wow,
ring.
damn.
And it did not roll great. It got 2 into crit damage and 1 into crit rate. And then it rolled 5% HP at the end of it all. So I think I ended up with like 16 crit damage or 17 crit damage, 13 crit rate, and 6 speed, 5 HP.
Seems pretty
Um,
good.
yeah, overall it's gonna be usable. I won't grind it or anything until it goes on something though.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's
yeah.
my strategy with grinds. I know. I know we've
Well,
debated before on it.
yeah, we have. And then
I mean, sometimes I'll pull a rune and just grind it right away because I'm like, this rune is too good. But
right.
most of the time, I hold off until it's on someone.
Well, and on that same thread, like I pulled a slot 1 accuracy rune, the focus rune,
Hmm.
that triple rolled speed and then 1 into percent HP. So that one I went ahead and grinded. It had like 24 speed and
Yeah,
20% HP at the end, and
yeah.
I'll
I mean,
probably end up.
yeah, it's like one of my fastest runes. Of course, I'm going to grind it
Yeah,
right away.
yeah,
That's for sure.
that'll probably go on like Verad or something. I know it doesn't have defense percent, but it's slot 1, so no,
Yeah,
none of his slot ones
yeah.
will.
Well, that's true. Yes. For those of you who didn't know, slot one runes don't have defense percent on them. So
um, yeah, so it'll probably go on him. But
great. Okay.
trying to think of anything else. Like,
Have you summoned anything cool? Have
no,
so it's just runes basically, which
actually,
I mean is
I
what the
take
game
that
is
back.
about. So
I did actually
not
summon
just
the water dice magician, who's
okay.
like he's really cool for PvP, especially like Siege and Guild. Well, maybe not necessarily Guild Ward, but like Siege,
Sure.
and also like Fire Rift if you don't have a great AOE team
Yeah.
already.
I've seen him
Um,
do work in like special league and stuff too.
yeah, he's really cool, really niche. I don't know, but I'm gonna build him eventually. So I'm glad I pulled him. I'm not gonna build him right away or anything, but I'm happy to have him because he was not a
Nice.
dupe. So
Yeah, that's exciting. What did I? Oh, dude, yeah. I already talked about my luck, but I did pull the water cannon girl.
water cannon. Oh wow,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, dude. I don't remember when I did that. She's level 15 unawakened, but I have her. I am going to eventually build her because I think she is better than Lucian in Necro.
Necro. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe not, but I feel like the lack of wave clear will be more than made up for on the boss. Um, and
That's
theoretically,
tough. That's tough
yeah,
because
but
that
also I
wave
think
clear is like
theoretically I can reduce the amount of shield runes I need to because Lucian's the one who like KOs himself with those, with those amps into things. Whereas, like, you know what I'm saying? It'll be fine.
yeah,
I think it does at the very least is just as good as Lucian, for Necro, but it might be cool. And then
yeah.
they have some other interesting stuff, like could be a good toy in like Guild Wars or whatever with that. I think they have an attack bar reduction or something, AOE,
Is
whatever.
she?
Doesn't matter.
She's 4-star, right?
Yeah, she's four star
That's what I
wonder
thought.
unit.
That's cool though. That's really cool.
Yeah, when I pulled her, I was like, oh, this is actually a 4-star unit that I care about, that I might actually do something with. So I felt cool. I
Yeah.
felt good about that. Do you want to? I'm just gonna ask you a question, and I think I know the answer. But have you done anything with Special League yet? Have you done
No,
any?
not really. Mm-mm.
Are you planning on delving in at all, or it's over? You've given up? I wasn't
Pretty
gonna do
much.
any
Yeah.
Special League myself, but I made a cleave team for Special League. which I'll just talk about for 1 second. And it's been really fun. Cleaving is super fun. What is my team, dude? It is Lucian, Megan, Shayna for the speed lead. Like Lucian, Megan, just because like they're really common. So like those will be the ones I try and pick first. Like I'll pick a Lucian first because it's like one of the most common monsters if someone's going to cleave or like counter pick you. And then I pick Megan, and then I pick Shayna. Shayna's a great speed lead. And then I pick Asima and Frigate for my last 2 picks because no one's ever going to steal those from me, you know? And then I cleave. They ban stuff. I go in there and I cleave things, and it's great. I'm hovering around Fighter 3 right now. And
that does sound like a lot of fun.
You know, I would 30-second matches.
I might special league if I had 2 LNDs like that and a decent cleave team.
You know, why even have LNDs if you can't flex on people in special league with them, right? So
exactly that.
It's fun. And I've never cleaved like that before because Frigate really enabled it, right? Like you can, like Frigate's 50% attack bar boost enables me to have like 160 speed. Yeah, like 160 speed on my nukers, and my Frigate's almost 300 speed. He's 289 or something, whatever. I don't know why I said almost 300.
That's almost 300 in my book.
Well, I know his exact speed. I don't know why I was guesstimating it for people. Yeah, he's 289, and so then like he wins most of the time. And if they ban him, my Megan's I think 254, and then I automatically get Shayna speed lead if they ban my Frigate. So that's actually pretty good at contesting, especially like I always ban speed lead if I'm going against someone. I'll just ban their speed lead. So, you know, 254 with a 24% speed lead does really well in most cases. Like occasionally I'll get outsped by like an Orion or something.
Yeah.
But it's fun. The match starts, you go and you cleave them. Easy peasy.
I wonder how useful like Tyrone is for Special League. Have you seen any?
I think he'd be really good, but I haven't seen anyone who like hasn't built yet. I'd imagine, truthfully, anyone who like is competent enough to have built a Tyrone after the buff is not in Fighter 3.
Fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like they're... Yeah. But truthfully, yeah, because I if my Shayna gets counterpicked, I have to pick a Fran, which then sometimes leaves me with like only one nuker, and it's not ideal. It still can work because Fran's broken. But yeah, especially I've been enjoying it because like 30-second matches, like I can clear all my wings in like an hour or something, and I get some points and I get some fun cleaves, and then I get tilted. I usually get tilted by the time I've done about 20 wings. Yeah, and then I quit. But I get a bunch of random fights in there, and I get to participate in Special League. So
yeah, we had a guy in our Discord that had a really nice anti-cleave team. Do you ever get to like RTA with him, Galt?
No, I didn't get to fight Galtons. But it does, yeah. And that's the thing I'll run into sometimes is like, I mean, you saw that screenshot of that one I went against, right? Where they had a chroma or whatever for the 44% HP lead.
Yeah.
All these like HP based, and I was just like, well, this is over. Like I've successfully been anti-cleaved, but
flexing with their LND Nat 5 on your LD cleave.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, and just styled on me. So
that's hilarious. So FRR. Sounds like you ruined some Special League stuff up.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. Sorry, fucking person that I know in real life just summoned a Praha there early in the game, but
do what?
Yeah.
You got a friend playing now?
Yes, dude, definitely, and they're crushing it. They fused Sig. They almost have a Dragons team. So
wow, that's not super early. That's like, I guess, still early game, but like
almost have a Giants team, not a Dragons team.
Oh,
but yes, I said the wrong words. Don't worry about it. Praha is cool though, but yes, free rune removal. Sorry, my brain melted there. Free rune removal, dude. It wasn't good. I like was busy all day and forgot about it and didn't prepare. And so I re-runed my Dragons team, which is just like the standard Dragons team, right? Verd, Collie, and then Triple Twins.
And by standard, you mean standard speed?
Yeah, yes. Standard, if you're not a noob, the team you have for Dragons, basically, Yeah, so I re-runed that team. They're all on Violent now. Like I had my Talia on like Rage Rage Blade or something. Rage Blade. It was a good Rage Blade set, but I like it. It's more consistent now. I haven't failed a run since I re-ruined it, and like just I mean whatever. So it's fine. It's where it needs to be. I re-ruined my Dragons team, and then kind of like ran out of time and inspiration to do anything. So like I ruined my Lucians to do arena offense. I ruined my Frigate, my Lucians, and my Megan. And then I got the idea like, hey, I can do a special league team with Lucian, Megan, Frigate +2, you know? So then I ruined my Asima, a couple other things, and then I de-ruined everything else. I de-ruined 100% of my units, and they're basically de-ruined right now. Like, my guild is probably getting murdered in Siege because my units are de-ruined. Sorry, guys.
GG.
Yeah, mega GG. I don't even know if my arena defense is ruined right now. It's just a bunch of fire monsters, so who cares, right? But I don't know. I'm gonna have to rune stuff to do Toa, I guess, maybe. And other than that, it's like whatever, right? Like I'm farming dragons. Like I have a special league team, even though I didn't even think I was going to. Raids is impossible for me to do because it sucks. I would have to I have to do raids with like other human beings. You know what I mean? Like me
Yep.
and you and someone else could do raids or whatever, but I can't just like join public raids. It's too garbage. And I need more violent runes anyway. I think I only got 6 viable violent runes between crafting every violent rune I could and farming dragons for the entire month. But 6 viable violent runes is better than I had before. Like it's taking me closer to, I mean, all my nukers that need to be on violent are on violent, and now I'm, hopefully after this month going to be able to rune an actual RTA team and then still be able to, with leftovers, run dragons. That's my actual goal. Is I want to go, I want to put my best runes on my RTA units on next FRR and still be able to run dragons. But we'll see. I don't know. That's it. That was all I did, and I still have a ton of units. I guess I got a new score in Fire Rift, I think like 4.4 million or something.
Oh wow. Is that triple S yet, or is 5 mil?
Yeah, it was triple S. Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember where the line was.
I think it might have been double S actually. I don't fucking know. 4.4 million, and I can like auto the Fire Rift like maybe 80% of the time. So,
not bad.
Cool. Back to farming Rhea. So yeah, nothing too brutal. But how about you, man? How was your FRR?
It was really good. I ruined up a necro team, had a little trouble at first with people living, so then I had to go and add some survivability in there, and it's actually speed tuned so that it works the way that it should work. Yeah, I mean, I'll still fail a run, maybe 1 per refill or something on necro, but then I got the bright idea to like try a dragons team, and found that I'm probably at like 90% consistent running those same twins with Verd lead and Elsharion to strip the immunity. So yeah, it works pretty well. So now I'm just back to farming dragons because that's what I wanted in the first place, and my time is now up to like, it's like a minute. My fastest run I think I've seen is like a minute 15, but I average probably like 125 to 135.
I mean, that feels really good. Like the difference between 125 and 1 minute is like whatever, unless you're just staring at your screen. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know like the way you play a lot of the time is like you start a run and then you don't look at your screen anyway. So
yeah, it's awesome. A lot. Yeah, it feels a lot better than the 2 to 2.5 minute runs I was getting beforehand. So yeah, it feels really good, and it was a surprise to me that it worked because I didn't expect to have enough damage. Everyone's on violent except Talia. She is on fatal. Actually, she's broken. Take it all back. She's broken, and her S3 in necro does like 29k per hit. Yeah. And then in dragons, it only does like 15k per hit. So that dragon has like hella defense. But
yeah, there's a big difference.
It's like a 30k nuke at half health and below.
Yeah, but that's still decent. That's probably close to 25%, I think, of the dragon's health.
Yeah, it's a significant chunk, to say the least. Yeah, and everyone else like Maruna, Shayna, both rune for damage, so they're both like doing a decent amount of DPS and stuff as well.
That's awesome.
Now, Elsharion, he's a tanky, fast unit. He has no damage whatsoever. I think
That's fine.
he like crits for like 1k.
That's okay. Well, you know,
it,
I don't know. I mean,
it helps.
he's there for utility though. He's there to
Yeah,
do basically one job, right? Which is
yeah, he
strip.
flexes.
Yeah. I don't
Um,
know. Did you ever consider chilling over Elsharion? Like, do you
yeah, I
like
did.
Elsharion better
I like Elsharion better. Uh,
because it gives
because
your team the immunity?
yes, and if Elsharion, no, sorry, if chilling uses S2, then it like greatly increases the chance that I die.
Okay, that makes sense.
Depending on where the boss attack bar is,
Yeah.
especially like
Okay, right. No matter what, Elsharion's always going to strip the immunity,
yeah,
but
with
but
that
chilling
15% chance
might
or
not.
whatever to
Yeah.
not. But then he's also on violent, and like on violent he can 22% chance if he misses the first one that he can get the second one,
Yeah.
and
Exactly. Makes them more consistent.
yeah, and then Verd, can speed boost him back in. The one thing that
Yeah.
I haven't done is speed tune this team. Now, ideally, in most speed teams, or with Verd teams anyway, Verd goes last. But my twins are ruined for Necro. Like the fastest is Shayna at 142
Mm-hmm.
speed. Then Maruna at like 137. Talia at like 132. So does Bird need to be? I think what I would probably be a little more successful having him up to like a 180 to 200 speed
Mm.
and getting more turn cycles off that way.
You can. I always like my Verd to just go last, and like you put him on violent, and he moves
Yeah.
after one.
Technically, he still moves before Talia with this setup, which
Yeah. Which it's okay. I mean, my Verd in the past has like moved before my Sig or has moved before my Lin. You know, like my whole
yeah,
team will be around 160, 170, and then my Verd will be like 150, and my Lin will be like 120 or something horrifying.
yeah,
But it's
but
still fine. You know.
yeah, I mean it's working. I might like play with it a bit. I've got like boatload of mana now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just a crazy amount of mana from what I'm used to. So I might just like switch the runes around, say fuck it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Maybe.
past that, nothing too huge. It was a nice surprise though, being able to run dragons with that team.
Yeah.
It
And
wasn't the
speeding it up.
goal.
That had to have felt really good when it like first cleared it and then wasn't failing all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I started using Bella first, and Bella on violent felt pretty consistent, but El Sharion definitely much more consistent than
Yeah.
Bella. I also put Megan in for attack buff. So that's what the team is actually missing is an attack buff. They run it without an attack buff.
Yeah.
Talia has a self attack buff, but
Yeah.
you know. So I
Yeah. I
tried
mean, I feel
that.
like the
And,
attack buff would make a big difference, but there's just no way. Like, your team isn't fast enough with the strip. Like, how low is the dragon when the immunity goes up?
oh, it depends on if Shayna decreases the attack bar. If she doesn't, it's usually around 60%. If she
Like
does,
60% left.
yeah,
Okay.
if she doesn't get the reduction on the tower or the crystal, if she gets it though, then I can usually get him down to below 30 before the
Yeah.
immunity will go up.
That's pretty rare, right? Because you don't have any AOE's to put a debuff on that tower.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which I,
So
I actually also did try Spectra,
yeah.
um, but even that felt too inconsistent.
No, definitely. I think you're doing it the right way right now. But yeah, like just a bit more damage. Because I would say even if you were below half, like 40% or something, then switching El Sharian out for Kali, the attack buff would give your team a lot more damage and Kali's nuke. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's that close, right? Because like the attack buff is what 33%. So theoretically, if it's at 60%, you could expect with an attack buff it to be at 40% or something like that.
that maths. Yeah,
Yeah, and then imagine that
theoretically.
unit actually does damage or nukes, right? Like my Kali does like a 30k nuke, and then also nukes again. So like you understand what I'm saying, right? Like having an
Yeah,
additional nuker also nuking and hitting the dragon multiple times. Like you're close, you're very close, but it's.
I think Collie's gonna be my next 6-star actually. I'm just gonna at least test. Excuse me. I'm gonna at least test it and see if I can get it to work.
Yeah,
Now, I may not keep it that way, but yeah, I want to try it out. I think honestly, the difference between like having that team running 100% and then being able to fill is having Sabrina. Like the damage
yeah,
boost that she provides
yeah,
is
definitely.
massive. So
I mean, it's huge. Like I mean, it's not huge, but it's what you need to get the dragon down fast enough.
yeah,
So
but anyway, we've still got a few things to talk about. We're actually doubling up rune topics today. We do one each
yeah,
week. And then the topic of conversation that we wanted to actually bring up was another rune topic. So we're gonna
yeah,
cover shield runes and endure runes today, which are the offset for dragons, and then we'll cover gonna cover revenge and guard next week, and then we'll move to necro. But yeah, shield and endure runes. So each one of those are niche, but extremely useful in their niche, I would argue. Um, with shield runes, a little more open to using those in like arena defense, guild war defense on high HP based monsters, siege defenses, and stuff like that.
yeah,
And then also like speed teams in dungeons can really use shield sets. Especially you have to have it for necro with most because the damage reflect will like nuke your nukers back.
yeah.
So
We do. And so what shield runes do, for those who don't know,
the uninitiated.
they give you a shield at the start of each round. Um, like when you change floors in dungeons or you start an arena or whatever, which is equal to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jaron, but 10% of the base HP of the monster that the shield set is on.
I think it's 15.
Okay, I could just look at a shield rune here and not be talking out of my ass. Let me 1 second, guys. Look at us teaching you. It is 15%. I'm garbage. 15% of the base HP. So if a monster has 10,000 HP, which is a little above average, but if a monster has 10,000 HP, you will have a shield for 1,500. A shield that will absorb 1,500 damage.
Yeah.
And then if you have multiple shield sets, they all stack and add up together. So. And also, they go from the monster with a shield set with the highest HP, is how that works. So, if you have, okay, it's hard. We're getting into shield set math here, but like if you have 3 shield sets and your highest monster is 10,000 HP, then you're gonna have a 4,500 HP shield that starts you off. So that's really good for dungeons because you take some damage sometimes. You don't have healers. There's all kinds of speed things happening, and the shield sets just kind of keep you alive. They're not going to be great for a bunch of turn cycling monsters, but in places where like you're having trouble with the mid boss or you're in necro and they reflect damage on you, like when you're Lucian amps, it's really really crucial. Then also a bunch of people will do like a slow shield will cleave team. Which basically kind of just lets the other guy in arena go first, or the other guy in guild go first and hit you first. And having a bunch of shield runes absorbing all those hits is really wonderful.
Yeah.
Shield runes are also great in the sense that some monsters gain buffs, gain positive effects based on how many buffs they have. So if you have like a Bulwark, he gains knowledge based on shield and will runes up on top.
Yes.
And you only need him on one monster for your whole team to get that shield, which is really nice. If you have a Chilling, he gains speed from buffs up top. There's a couple others. There's monsters
Elsharion
that damage. Yeah, Elsharion now gains damage for buffs up top. So shield sets kind of like this not unintended, but this effect that you might not think about right away with that buff up, that overhead buff. Can add other effects other than just being a shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good. What else? Have we missed anything shield wise, or do we want to move on to endure?
Yeah. Real quick though with shield. So we'll want to talk about the stats that you look for. The thing
Yeah.
about shield runes is they're used in a ton of different places. So um, you're
Yeah.
really just looking for runes with synergy. An attack percent rune with crit rate and speed and crit damage, and some tanky stats to make your nukers not, a, a pillow, basically.
Yeah.
They can take some hits. Or an HP percent rune. Speed is always important, even in like slower shield will cleave comp, like anti cleave comps. Like
Yeah.
you still need some speed so that you're not getting turn cycled like crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
so speed is important. And then just runes with synergy in general. Like a defense percent, HP percent, speed, and accuracy, resistance, whatever type rune that will go really well as long as you don't like triple roll accuracy. Um,
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
basically, yeah, you said it right. The synergy is what's important because, if you think about it in the context of like a necro team, like you might have a shield set on your Lucian, and if it has like
Mm-hmm.
nuker stats, then cool, you're good. And you might also, or instead, have a shield set on like your Colleen or your Fran or whatever, and that's going to have a different, kind of supportish rune, right? Tanky stats, whatever. But either way, it's going to be useful for your necro team, right? Is if you can fit it on a monster with synergistic stats, then it'll make sense and it'll work there. And that's kind of the point of shield everywhere, is they can kind of fill that offset slot on a monster that doesn't need a specific offset like will and make a big difference.
Yeah, and so you should end up keeping, more shield runes than endure runes, which we'll cover. So endure runes give a resistance bonus. Um, Actually, don't use them enough to have any frame on how much resistance you get. Have you looked
I think
that
it's
one up, Keith?
20%.
20%. That's what I thought, but I wasn't certain.
I think it's 20%. Truthfully, endure runes, it's cool if you can make an endure set, but they're just broken runes. Like you just use them in a broken set. Unluckily, I will say, maybe someone would consider it lucky. Unluckily, two of my fastest runes are both endure.
Yeah,
So
same actually.
I slap them on a raid unit, and it's wonderful. Endurance, like that's the thing. Resist is really, really good in raids. That's the only place I would really truthfully consider trying to like build an endure set.
Right.
Beyond that, like it's great if you can build the set, but endure runes are just runes with stats that you're going to end up using in broken sets most of the time. Kind of like the energy runes of dragons, where
Yes.
eventually you basically are never trying to build energy sets. Same thing with endure unless you're in raid, but that doesn't mean you're not going to still use those runes.
Ooh. Yeah.
Outside of
So
raid, can you think of a place you'd want an endure set?
not really. Yeah, not at all. Honestly,
Yeah,
just throw will on anything you need not to be stunned before it can move, and then immunity if you need stuff not to be CC'd, and like
yeah,
then resistance isn't as big a deal. Um, I will say like they are fantastic for raids. My two of my fastest runes are these endure runes, and they're both on my Felleria. I think one's like a 24 speed and one's like a 22 speed, and then she's on violent endure, and she's up to like 240 speed, and she has like two violent runes that only have like 10 speed on them,
yeah,
or something like that. So it does really enable her, and that's my cleanser. And so if you have these runes, I would also say like you're probably keeping less endure runes. You should be picky. They
yeah,
need to be really good. They need to have all near perfect synergy. Um, yeah,
yeah,
so it's going to be really difficult for you to like find endure runes, in my opinion, that you're going to keep and actually use, because they need
yeah.
to be really really good to be used in broken sets, especially.
Definitely, which I think I guess kind of does speak to why we have like fast runes that are endure, because we only kept them because they rolled so well.
Yeah.
And so it's
Well,
like like, and I get it, it could have rolled somewhere else, but it's like like unless they rolled really well, that endure rune is going in the dumpster, because it's an endure rune. I don't know. They're
Just
the
taking
worst
up
set.
space.
Yeah, they're the worst set from dragons. They can be cool. They can do cool stuff if you can make the set, but they're not one of the sets that's worth going after. Typically,
Yeah.
you have to have the stats to back it up.
Yeah, and I know like resist is still important, especially the further you get into PvP. Like resist can be super important for strip Ciara comps like Tiana, Ciara, stuff like that. Like you want to have a good resistance, but on top of that, like those units that you want the resistance on are going to be on will anyway,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they need a main set to not be
They're going to be on
useless.
violent and
Yeah,
will.
probably violent and probably will. So you
So
just they're kind of really outclassed by violent runes.
yeah,
Is really the gist of it. So
yeah. Well, because I mean, when you have a 22% chance to just ignore CC, uh,
yes, and I said violent.
having
I
a
totally
20% chance to resist
I
CC makes less sense.
I meant will when I said violent.
But
GG
either
though,
way,
played
but still,
myself.
no, it's fine. I took it and I made it work. It does truthfully still work. It's obscene. The whole thing is obscene. Violent runes are obscene. But yeah, I don't know. I think we covered it pretty well. You get them from dragons. I don't think you can get endure anywhere else, and I think you get shield from somewhere, some
Oh
place.
yeah, you got me. I have no idea where
Yeah,
shield comes from.
but you're never gonna want to use a shield rune you get from scenario.
Yeah.
Can you agree with that? There's no
Yes.
you're never gonna need like that green shield rune that you got from the
I
Chiruka
would argue
boss.
that you probably don't need any runes from scenario.
Well, like early game getting swift from scenario makes
Okay,
sense.
sure.
Right, we did mention. I don't know why. Don't get your shield runes from scenario, guys. It's not worth it.
So,
It's not.
quick question. I've got a rune in my shop right now, 6-star slot 2, focus defense percent rune.
Slot 2
Accuracy,
focus.
yeah, accuracy, HP, crit damage, flat HP.
I wouldn't, because there's no speed. But what actually? I don't know, man. You do you. Do you need a super tanky monster with shitty stats? I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Maybe
pass.
people will shame me for that, but I wouldn't buy that. That's not a ideal rune.
It's not an ideal rune. Doesn't mean it's not usable at some point somewhere,
What's
but
gonna use that though, dude? I have like a
thing in, I don't know.
an HP percent slot 2 rune with 26 speed on it that I can't find a home for. So
shame.
I don't.
My Chow would like to have a word.
I mean, if I had a Chow, he'd still be sad that he was really slow. But it's not that slow. That's the thing. Like, yeah, I'd put it on a Chow, or like a Rakan, but my Rakan has a better rune for some reason. Like I have a better vampire rune for slot 2 for my Rakan. Like it just like I just got scammed. I don't know what happened to me.
Oh no. Well, speaking
I'll have to look at that rune.
Actually nothing. That was a bad transition.
Speaking of nothing.
So one thing that came up in our Discord this week and I thought was just kind of interesting. Rage over fatal runes. Now, we have this handy dandy optimizer that automatically punches out damage calculations. The only issue that I personally have with that whole system is that I don't know how it works. So I don't know what those numbers actually mean.
Okay. What number? The damage number? You don't know what the damage number means?
Yeah, no, I have no idea. Is that just like S1 expected damage with no defense break? Or is it like
choose the skill, and you can choose all of the. You're talking about the rune optimizer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that they're meaningful.
Right.
And I just haven't looked at how to use it to more benefit.
Do you have the rune optimizer? Can you pull it up? Can I?
I'm scared to pull it up. I'll be honest because I don't know what screen it's going to come up on.
Okay. Well, I'll pull it up. There's this customize your damage value button. It looks like a little gear, to the right of all your stats and sets that appear as go lower. What is that? Looks lit. It's out of focus.
Way out of focus. What is
But
going on? Wait, no, that won't work. I was gonna tap it to focus it like it's a camera.
is it a violent rune?
It is. It's a violent rune with
It looks
inbuilt crit rate and no speed and a bunch of mismatched.
probably worth a re-up at some point.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Sorry, I
there's
distracted
this
you.
button. Okay, so you know the damage column, all right?
Yes.
There's a button that you can press, and it says, "Hey, select your monster." So, in this case, we would like select Lucian or something, right?
Yes.
And holy crap, I should have just selected my Lucian. This is, oh no, I've selected Lucian, and not.
No. Oh,
Okay, sorry.
no.
Okay, dude. So it'd be a lot easier if you could see this too, but it doesn't matter. The point is, you select a Lucian, then you can pick a skill. So amp magic. That's what you're trying to figure out, right? You're like, how hard can I amp? So you pick amp, and then what are the effects of amp? Right? It's an ignore defense skill. So you check that box. Is it a bomb? No, it's not a bomb. You would never check. Don't check the bomb box unless it's a bomb. Are you using your buildings? Yeah, because your buildings exist in game. Guild War buildings, are you checking your amps in Guild War or arena offense? We're just going to pretend it's arena offense, so you wouldn't check that. Defense break doesn't matter because who gives a shit? It's ignore defense. Are you using an attack buff? Yeah, you better be using an attack buff if you're losing things. Using defense buff, no one gives a shit. You probably are, but it doesn't affect Lucian's damage, so you can do whatever you want with that. Speed buff, same concept. Brand buff, unless you're actually using it, who cares? Then below here, you can select, hey, is it a crit? Is it a normal? Is it an average? I always go with crit because with something like a Lucian, you would want to set 85% as your crit rate, and you don't want to take a Lucian with 50 crit. So I'm going to assume he's critting. You can do different things if you want to try and get a more accurate value, but you're just going to assume you crit because that's what you want to see. What are my cards going to be when I crit with my Lucian, right? And then the other thing you need is you can select, do I have skill ups? And you're like, yeah, my Lucian's max skilled because I'm awesome. We don't care about guild. Is there a leader skill on the far left over there? Yeah, it's either 21% if you're using Megan or 30% if you're using Bernard. You add all that shit in, you hit the apply button, and then the damage number that comes out is a very accurate representation of what your cards will hit on a Lucian.
Nice.
So, same concept. If you have a Lin, you throw it in there, and that's the thing. You're trying to figure these things out. You throw the Lin in there. You figure out what the giant or the dragon's boss HP is. You throw it in there as the multiplier for the Lin's HP-based skill. You select the HP-based skill, check all the boxes, and you have a good idea of how hard your Lin is going to hit on that boss, or whatever. If you're trying
to figure really handy.
Copper's damage, you select the skill, you check all the right boxes, you add all the skills and skill ups, and it'll give you a very good idea of what that's doing. That being said, if you do nothing, those damage numbers are still relative. The only place it really, really comes up is in places like HP percent based scaling skills, like Lin's skill. Since it scales off of HP percent, crit damage is a lot better than crit rate or attack or anything for it because it's not scaling off of Lin's attack. And ignore my crit rate thing. Nothing scales off of crit rate. There's no crit rate damage hit. But it's not scaling off of Lin's attack to do more damage. It's scaling off the target's HP. So having more crit damage increases the damage way more. Sorry, I just punched my microphone. Increases the damage way more than scaling off of attack would, which I'm guessing is a situation we're going to come up here with Fatal versus Rage.
Yeah, so with all that in mind...
Woo! There you guys go.
Does the optimizer... I guess the damage numbers have to take that into account. So if you were to put all that info in and you're trying to get a good estimation of Lin's S3, then you're going to get higher crit damage.
Yeah.
Rune sets ultimately.
You will, yes, definitely. For a Lin, if you fill the boxes out right, and you have a good rage set and if you have comparable rage and fatal sets on a Lin, which is one of the only monsters this will actually be a thing, but on a Lin, it's gonna suggest you the build with the higher crit damage over higher attack. And in other builds, it's just trying to find overall stats and kind of
Yeah.
like comes up with a way of, oh, crit damage versus attack, like a certain amount of, like 100 attack is worth this much crit damage or some shit like that. And it, kind of equalizes it out based on all your runes and, you're this and you're that. And then obviously it's trying to get the minimum stats that you're setting, like, oh, we need crit rate or we need this or we need that. But all factors equal, then yeah, like in the optimizer and in your own brain, like your crit damage makes sense on a Lin, and the optimizer will show you that. But if you're just comparing Lucians, then it can get interesting because sometimes the set that looks good, doesn't look that good to me. The set that the optimizer says is good, isn't it? Doesn't. I would never have picked out for my Lucian unless I had the optimizer.
Yeah, no, I've put my Lucian on a broken set many a times. Talia's got that set now, actually.
Yeah.
And now my Lucian's actually ruined like Swift broken.
Yeah.
I needed him to be the first one to move in Necro and also have enough tank, even with shield runes, to like not die, especially
Yeah.
at like boss. So he got Swift, and he's 143 speed on Swift.
Yeah. Well, and I think Rage is really, really good. I think there's some cases where Rage is, like in the case of Lin, I think Rage is like strictly better. And in the case of getting all your other base stats, Rage is really, really good. But really looking at Rage and Fatal as a whole, I think most people have more Fatal runes. The optimizer is going to be throwing more Fatal runes into sets for people because they have more of them. And the difference between Rage and Fatal with like equally good stats is very little in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
I don't know what other examples are. I wish I had more knowledge, to kind of give an example where, I mean, I guess, Dark Panda scales off of a pure attack. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, because everything that crits is going to scale off of crit damage. And like the Fatal set itself, sure, maybe you put it on a Miang or something, but like as a whole, but on a Lucian or something that just does normal amounts of damage, I don't think there's much of a difference between it scaling off of attack or off of crit damage. Like whether you know what I mean? Like I don't think there's much of a difference with a Fatal or a Rage set in most cases.
See, and this is one of the things that came up in Discord, like I said earlier, and it was in reference to the Katarina Belager R5 team.
Sure.
So like standard runes for, I think it was Belager, Katarina they were talking about. I can't remember which one, but they needed like plus 1700 attack and 225 crit damage at least.
Sure.
Okay. And so when people see 225 crit damage as a requirement, they're automatically like, Rage. It's got to be Rage. That's a lot of crit damage. Well, I did the math. It's an average of like 21 crit damage per rune with a Fatal set.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot. That's a triple roll. Or, well, a double roll, max double roll, technically. But, yeah, in this instance, and with monsters in general, the interesting part is that attack changes from one unit to another. So what may work for one unit with a lower base attack won't work for another unit with a higher base attack because they scaled it. Like a Fatal set for a guy with a high base attack may do just as much or more damage as the Rage set on this person with a lower attack because their attack is so low. Their base attack is so low.
Something that's made me think of you explaining that. I mean, I think those values are also probably, I mean, because there's limits, right? Like there's like a hard limit. Like you can't get over like, 300 crit damage or something on a monster, right? Like, and so 225 is like high amounts of crit damage. You know what I'm saying? And you can't get over a certain amount of, 3,000 attack or something on a monster. So it's like, in order to have runes or a rune set or something that does things well, it's got to be 90% efficient or something, right? There's like I would say like there's got to be this like efficiency limit versus like not necessarily exact crit damage, exact attack, especially in like the the Catabale team or the Ballerina team. but you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, your runes that are on this nuker have to be 90% plus efficient in nuker stats. You know what I mean? And yeah, sure. Like if you get an insane amount, like if you just have insane attack percent runes, then sure, you could probably have like 170 crit damage and a billion attack, and it'd be fine on that in that case. But your other point that you made about base attack and fatal versus rage actually I think is really relevant as well. Because you're going to get more of an effect out of something, you know, that like all units scale the same way off of crit damage, but fatal scales off of base attack, you know?
Yeah.
So a unit with low base attack, theoretically, or high base attack would get more or less effect out of the fatal set. But then I guess that kind of makes rage more consistent across the board. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the actual difference there would be. Like a unit with 900 base attack versus 800 base attack, like how much is the difference with fatal there? I haven't done the math. I don't know why I'm asking questions that I can't answer. We should be educating people with these answers, but we fucking can't. So I don't know. But yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if it actually truly is a big difference, like, you know, or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, same. I would like to know as well. I mean, thinking about like my Lucian though, the difference between like 2700 attack Lucian and 2600 attack Lucian was like, I feel like it was only like 4, maybe 3, maybe 4 to 500 damage per card, which is the difference between maybe like a 7k card and a 7.5k card, sure, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel that big of a difference, like that 100 attack on the when you're looking at like the totals. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I would like to look at the numbers and just see, because if you were to take you'd have to have a standard to base it all off of. But just, you know, keep the same exact stats, like max 6-star runes for 246 and the exact same subs on a rage set versus fatal set, like which one would do more damage. And there's going to be a point where they cross, right? Like there's going to be a point where like probably rage does more damage, but then fatal takes over as far as base attack, like if you're looking at base attack. So where's that crossover happening at? I think that would be interesting to know.
And like how relevant is that crossover to make a difference? Like I know there's a huge difference with crit damage with Lyn. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know that there's like some monsters that have huge base attack or that are very like attack skill, like they have something a utility skill that scales off of attack. You know?
Yeah.
Then sure, that makes a lot of sense. Fatal versus rage. But otherwise, I feel like in most cases, and maybe this is ignorant, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, please. But I feel like in most cases, they do the same job. You know? Truthfully.
Yeah, which then begs the question, like, why do they both exist in game? Like, if we have,
you know, outside cases, I guess, right? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but if you can get 225 crit damage from a fatal set, then like he used a fatal set where 99% of the population probably uses rage sets. Yeah. So it still begs the question, in my opinion, like why do rage, and it makes hitting that requirement easier. Yeah, because of the 40% crit damage.
In some cases, it reduces rune requirements. You know.
Yeah, and I would agree.
Or in cases where you have like special shit going on, you know, where you have like different buffers or different this.
Like you said earlier, I think you hit it. Like there's an efficiency line if you were talking about the Catabel team. There's an efficiency line that like you can't fall under and hit those requirements. I think the line is probably lower for rage sets. I think they could probably be slightly less efficient and still be able to hit the requirements than fatal. Because thinking about those fatal runes, like he still had 60 some odd crit rate, which is, you know, 6 times 6 is 36 plus 15 is 50 something. So he still had a couple rolls into crit rate, at least 2 rolls on average in every rune into crit damage, and some speed on there as well. So like, you know, it's very, very highly efficient runes, like very highly efficient, because for 2 rolls of crit damage, that's those were max rolls to hit the 21 average. So they were probably triple rolls. And in reality, the average would be a triple roll, I think.
Yeah.
But it could be the fact that, he had maybe 2 maxed crit damage rolled, and then the rest of the runes all had other stats.
Yeah.
Or something similar to that. But anyway, I know we're actually running a little short on time, and I got to go soon. So unless you had anything to add, I think we could go ahead and wrap that one up.
No, I think we have more questions than answers after talking about Fatal versus Rage. But I mean, if you guys have any more thoughts, or I've said things that have wildly offended you, come into our Discord and let us know. Tell us why we are wrong. Because I'm sure we are wrong about a lot of stuff, but that's kind of the whole point. This is how we feel, and let us know. I mean, maybe you agree. Maybe I don't know. I'd be interested to see the number. I'd be interested to see that graph. I'm just never going to make it myself. So
I might do something one day.
yeah,
We'll see.
Definitely. I believe in you. I think you can do it. But otherwise, no. I mean, thank you guys for tuning in and listening. And same as always, I appreciate 100% of you who support us and show up and join our Discord and engage and ask questions and get help and do everything. And yeah, we'll be back with another episode within a week, but I appreciate all you guys, and that's it for me.
Yeah, same. We've been a little later in the week on releasing the podcast, but starting next week, we should be moving back to putting them out, Tuesdays for you guys. And yeah, just, man, we love the support that you guys have given us. And if you need anything, want to give us any feedback or have anything you want to hear us talk about, let us know. See you guys next week.